About 90% of all startups fail. 10% of them fail within the first year and 70% within the first 5 years of operations. The number one reason why startups fail is due to misreading market demand. Second, after solvency issues, is the lack of research. You have to know what your customers want to drive your design decisions. Too many new organizations go into the market thinking that they have a great service or product to offer, but they fail to realize that nobody wants that service or product. Which brings us to the main topic of this video. By researching your market and testing with real users, you will know exactly how to meet your potential customers' needs, increasing your or your company chances for success. I have already explained what user research is in one of my previous videos. Today we will focus on two of its most important methodologies: user and usability testing. The difference between usability and user testing is confusing to most people. Some people described user testing as the process of validating the demand for a product, where usability testing answers if end user can or cannot do what they need to do on the existing prototype. There is another group which uses terms usability and user testing interchangeably. I'm leaning towards the first group. Usability testing is a method of testing the functionality of a website, app, or other digital product by observing real users as they attempt to complete tasks through it. The users are usually observed by UX researchers, but most of the time that role would be assigned to the person directly responsible for the design, aka you. The goals of usability testing are different for each study, but they usually focus on identifying problems in design, uncovering opportunities, or learning about the target user's behavior and preferences. Despite what I told you about the necessity of research and validation, a couple of times during my career I was met with a question: why do we need to do usability testing? Don't you know how to design a great user interface? Well, even the best UX designers can't design a perfect solution in the first go. That's why we need an iterative design process that is driven by observations of real users' interactions with our design. The sooner any crucial issues are discovered, the better our chances for the product success. Typical usability testing session consists of three elements: a facilitator, tasks to be performed, and participants. There are of course many types of usability testing, but those three are its core elements. The facilitator interviews and administers tasks to the participants, observes and records their actions. Facilitator is also guiding testers through the entire process, helping them if they have problems interacting with the product or service. In unmoderated, remote studies, most of those roles are handled by the service used to conduct them. Next element of usability testing is tasks. Tasks are realistic scenarios of usage that users would need to perform while interacting with our designs. They can be very specific or very open-ended depending on the type of testing and your goals. When it comes to participants, they must be realistic users of the product or service being studied. Those may be real users that are using an existing product or service already, or representatives of that type of users in a case where the product or service doesn't yet exist. Finding the right participants for your studies is often very challenging, because first you need to find the right people, and second you need to convince them somehow to share some of their time with you. If you are looking for testers that are already using your product, finding them is relatively simple, because you have access to your customers' contact info. You just need to reach them and offer them something, like a gift card. But if you are looking for participants for a product or service that does not yet exist, the situation is different, because first you need to find your target group somehow. Social media platforms like LinkedIn and Facebook can help you find proper targets through interest groups. Just look for groups that may host your ideal candidates and enroll them. Then reach out to individuals or post information that you are looking for people for your studies. There are also platforms like usertesting.com that do the heavy lifting for you, because they have hundreds or thousands of people in their database willing to participate. But those services are generally very pricey. You need to recruit at least 5 participants for your studies. That number of people will allow you to discover most of the potential issues. Now, there are 3 general types of studies, depending on the way you can conduct them: moderated and unmoderated, remote or in person, explorative or comparative. A moderated testing session is administered in person or remotely by you or another researcher. Remote usability tests are done over the internet. Explorative tests are open-ended, where participants are asked to give opinions and express emotional impressions. Comparative research methods involve asking users to choose which of the two solutions they prefer. We can also consider usability testing by another two general types: qualitative and quantitative studies. Qualitative usability testing focuses on collecting insights, findings, and anecdotes about how people use the product or service. Qualitative usability testing focuses on collecting metrics that describe the user experience. As you can see, there is a lot of theory behind usability testing. What I want you to remember is that no matter the definition and type of your study, the underlying goal of it is to validate your design against the real world and act accordingly to your findings. That's it for today. In the future videos, I will cover in more details various techniques of conducting usability testing, one of which I have already covered here. In the meantime, you can also watch my other videos about UX and UI design here.